Well, the great state of Idaho is known for a lot of great things. Potatoes, of course, and the fry sauce to dip them in. Rivers in which to raft and fish for renowned trout. And for a long time, breweries and wineries have made a push for prominence. As more people flock to the gem state, more breweries and wineries have followed suit. There are now more than 70 wineries in Idaho right now, with more planned. But grape growers in Ada County, specifically in Eagle, are now having to face an interesting challenge. When trying to open up a tasting room, their neighbors have to okay the sale of that wine. In fact, 75% of them have to be on board with it. But Ada County is considering simplifying that for grape growers. How? Here's Katya Stepovic.
In a booming place like Eagle, Idaho, there's a whole lot of this. But scattered about, you'll find plots of land home to thousands of Idaho grapes.
What is the future of the foothills?
That is the question that many community members and Ada County commissioners are trying to get to the bottom of, as potential grape growers face challenges in opening up wineries and tasting rooms in the Eagle foothills.
It's really causing our folks who want to set up business in Ada County to question whether or not they want to actually do that or not within the county, and perhaps go to a county in the surrounding area that doesn't have this additional regulation.
Right now, in order to operate as a winery or tasting room in unincorporated Ada County, there are two things that must be done: obtain a conditional use permit and have 75% of neighbors within 1,000 feet of your property give you the green light.
Section 4310A is a mechanism in place to protect residents and neighbors living in unincorporated Ada County from the dangers and nuisances of alcohol sales.
But now, an ordinance that would get rid of the need for property owners to have neighbors sign off on the sale of their liquor is being considered, raising some concerns.
How would you feel if your neighbors started hosting events to strangers, not from the neighborhood, and serving them alcohol? And how would you feel with strangers looking into your backyard?
According to Moya Dolsby, executive director of the Idaho Wine Commission, the wine industry has a $210 million impact and provides over 2,800 jobs to Idahoans.
We want to continue to have agriculture. Wine and grapes go together, and we want grapes to be grown, and we want to preserve the foothills because they're beautiful. And having the 75% rule, we're the only ones in the state that I know of that have this, and it just seems kind of, do we need to have that extra layer there?
Mark Pasculi, owner of Rolling Hills Vineyard, says no, the extra layer is not needed.
The question to me always boils back to, in 20, 30, 50 years from now, what do people in the hills want? Do they want the foothills completely littered with tract homes? Or do they want a vibrant wine and agritourism community?
Pasculi lives in the Eagle foothills on his vineyard, but operates a tasting room in Garden City. He wants to be able to sell and offer his wine at his estate, but he knows some neighbors don't want that to happen.
We are up against another residence out there that wants to open up events about 4 to 5 times a week with food trucks and alcohol. And there's a family directly across the street with 4 kids.
This is our way to protect ourselves because we don't have the city to protect us. This is our protection. So I would say, please don't change it.
While some neighbors want to continue to have a voice on incoming wineries, grape growers like Pasculi say a couple neighbors that may not want the extra traffic could determine the future of the wine industry.
People aren't, sitting on their patio pounding wine. We can develop a beautiful area for agritourism and have open space, or we can just wait to lose the wrestling match with developers.
After hearing public testimony from both sides, Ada County commissioners voted to table any decision-making on the ordinance to a later date.
But I just think this is the beginning of the conversation, and there needs to be more for us to make a great decision.
Okay, Katya, so this is an interesting discussion, this kind of head-to-head battle between ag business and subdivisions kind of encroaching on some of our rural areas. But they tabled this. So now what? I mean, at some point they have to kind of take it up and come to a conclusion.
They do, and they said there's a lot to look into and discuss internally, but they are going to talk with the public, have public testimony again on May 24th. But Chairman Beck said something really interesting after all that public testimony that had people kind of thinking, why are we talking about this rule change to begin with? Listen to this.
If the 75% is not acquired, that doesn't stop the the project. It just means that if they come up with a good enough reason, then this board could say, well, we ought to go ahead and grant it anyway. So it just depends on the individual process.
So they could just override what the neighbors decided to do anyway.
Essentially, he is saying, and it's right here in the amended ordinance, that it is up to county commissioners at the end of the day.
Wow, okay. So yeah, I guess they'll have to maybe make that more clear as they get into that discussion a little further.
Yep, absolutely. Lots of talking to do internally and externally.
Cool, thanks Katya, appreciate it.